Hey everybody, welcome back to an extra video of Let's Play Dark Cloud. I wanted to talk about a couple things that you could do in order to help grind in the game. Once you get post-game, it's going to get way more difficult. You're going to need to get a lot of stuff. And to max out your weapons, you're really going to need a lot of stuff. So I guess I'll start with fishing. So I talked about fishing a little bit in the original, like in the series, but I didn't really go into full detail or really even go through like a full tutorial about it. So, in order to get the most out of fishing, you want to make sure that you're at least in... Either at least reach the Sun and Moon Temple, or just Muskalaka in general. You want to get far enough to the Sun and Moon Temple in order to unlock the Oasis. And then you'll be able to actually fish here. Why you want to fish here is because this is the only place where you can find Baron and Mardan Garians. Well, it's not the only place to find Baron and Mardan Garians. It's the easiest place to find Baron and Mardan Garians. So, in order to, like, go through this, you're going to want to have a potato cake, at least one. More would be helpful. You're also going to want a gooey peach. I think you can also use throbbing cherries. Throbbing cherries might also work. And you also want a lot of poison apples. You're going to want it to be dusk time in-game in Muskalaka. And you want to just start fishing. So why you want to fish in Muskalaka, there's a couple reasons why. I explained one just now. It's that the Mardan, Baron, Garian appear in this oasis. When you start, you see all 4 fish that can appear during a fishing session right off the bat. You see them in the center, you see them fan out. They can't go too far either. You can also find Baron and Mardan Garians in the waterfall near Madataki Village. The problem with Madataki Village is that fishing spot is enormous, and fish can just get lost behind a waterfall and stuff. So very much you want to just do this at Muskalaka's Oasis. So, the first thing you want to do when you begin fishing is that you want to attach a gooey peach to your fishing line. People who know about the Baron and Mardan Garians know, or will probably be confused about this, maybe, if you don't know the full thing. But you want to go and see if you want to go and cast out a gooey peach nearby any fish that look relatively big, like this one right here. This one's kind of big. So once you cast out, you want to just try and see if it gets the fish's attention. If it does, immediately pull back out. That is not the fish we're looking for. Basically, you want to keep doing this. So you want to keep casting out gooey peaches on fish that look relatively big or really big. Relatively big to really big, I should say. If you don't find what you're looking for, just cancel fishing in front of the sign and then immediately start it again. Just mash X. So yeah, you can see if it's this one right here, actually. I might cut until we actually find one that isn't interested in any gooey peaches. So you see that small one is interested. This one right here is as well, alright? So, if it doesn't work, stand in front of the sign, press circle, then hit quit, mash X, and it'll immediately start fishing again. The reason why you want to mash X is so that you don't waste time, like, in the dusk or anything. Because the Mardan and Baron Garian appear most often at dusk. So you want to make sure that you don't waste too much time standing around in front of the sign and not in a menu or anything. So this one looks relatively big as well. Let's go ahead and see if when we cast out the gooey peach here. So this one's interested in it. So that's not what we're looking for. Oh, did we find one? Looks like this one doesn't seem to be interested in the peach. This one took about 4 or 5 tries. Yeah, okay. So this one is interested. So, if you find one that isn't interested, that means that you either have a Baron or a Mardan Garian. I'm going to guess by its size it's actually a Mardan. So, the next thing you want to do, if you find a fish that's not interested in gooey peaches, try a poison apple. Oh, seems interested. That means you got a Mardan. So all you gotta do is now just fish it up. Ah, the bait ran out immediately. Dang. Usually it doesn't happen that quickly. It's like a chance of it happening, so... That's why I say just have extra bait on hand. Don't just have one. Because you don't want to end up missing it just because of some unfortunate luck. There we go. And there you get a Mardan Garian. So, for anyone who either didn't watch when I was catching these before, or didn't watch the playthrough, Mardan Garians are one of the best fish to catch in the game because they are, well, for one thing, they give you a lot of fishing points. The fishing points that you get for like other fish are usually less than 100. Mardan Garians give you well over 200. Well, they give you well over 100 for sure. Most of the time they give you over 200 as well. But that's basically the gist of it. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get a Baron to show up so I can show like the full thing. So just give me a moment. I should also mention while this is going on that the Mardan Garian has another use aside from its fishing points. Catching one allows you to skip trapped chests because this fish that you yanked out of its home will show you the right path and tell you the trap the chest has. Even if you don't care about the rewards from fishing, this is a must-have for future dungeon dives. Here we have another Mardan. So I haven't found that Baron yet, unfortunately, but another Mardan's good. This is why I said to have way more poison apples, because they're more... Because the Baron Garian is pretty rare, unfortunately. Okay. Definitely hit X there, but the game said no. Yep, another Mardan. Only Mardan Garians are like poison apples, so if you find any fish that likes poison apple or that is biting on poison apples, then you know you got it. I guess now's a good enough time to show this as well, since this is taking a bit. If you want to have an endless supply of poison apples, all you have to do is just go to Queen's and go to wherever you place down Lana's store. She sells fruit here, and she even sells poison apples. You can also steal them from Witch Helga's if you want. Not Witch Helga's, Ilza's. Yeah, you can steal them from Ilza's. I'm gonna buy a few more of these. And then you just immediately head back to this. Messing up, alright. And then you can immediately just head back to Muskalaka. You can also buy potato cakes. They cost a bit more. Also, you noticed poison apples aren't even that expensive, so you can get a ton of Mardan Garians that way, if you know how to find them. And the best way to get them. You can also get potato cakes from... Which house was it? I believe it was... Not this one. Brooke. Yeah, Brooke sells potato cakes as well, so you can get them from him. Anyway, back to fishing. So we got another Mardan, I think. Let's see. It appeared to just ignore my... It appears to ignore the gooey peach like 3 times, so... If you see that happen a lot, you should probably consider that that's what's going on. But this one's ignoring everything. Is this actually... No, it couldn't be, right? Hang on. It'd be a really small one if it was. Hang on, let me try that peach one more time. Usually, they're not that big or small. Hang on. This one is like trying its absolute hardest to not look at things I'm tossing out though. Nope, it's not paying attention to it. This is really a... Well, if this happens, then you're going to want to get a potato cake. If it doesn't look at gooey peaches, and it doesn't look at poison apples, then your third option would have to be a potato cake. So let's toss this out. And it seems to have an interest. Fishing is a little weird in this game, because if you see the bobber, like, if you see the bait start floating to the surface, it means that the fish will not take the bait at all. So just make sure that it goes all the way down like so. And now it's facing the wrong way again, of course. Potato cake is a little bit problematic. Why it should always be your last option is because every fish in the lake aside from the Mardan Garian likes potato cakes. And using everything before potato cake narrows down what you're going to end up getting. So let's just get this fish to bite. And of course, it let go as soon as I hit X. It's really struggling. I don't know which one's biting. Yeah, okay. Yeah, like I said, almost every fish except for one likes potato cakes. So make sure the fish that you're looking at is the only one trying to go for it. Come on. Oh my god. It's just staring at it. Here we go. Yep. So here you have a Baron Garian, a relatively small one. I don't think I've actually seen one with a shadow that small before. So Baron Garians, right? The reason why, I mentioned this earlier, the reason why you want to make sure that you go through all those other baits first is because the Baron Garian likes potato cakes, but so does every other fish in the pond. They don't like gooey peaches, which I think every other fish does like. And they also don't like poison apples. So therefore you can use process of elimination to figure out that the fish that you're throwing your bait at is a Baron Garian by doing that. First you want gooey peach. If it doesn't go for that, then try poison apple. Then if that doesn't work, then use potato cake, and then you have a Baron Garian. The reason why I want a Baron Garian is that they give you a stupid amount of points, even for one this small. As you can see, this one gives 611. The ones that are like actually like the massive size, they'll give you like over 800. So this is by far the best way to get fishing points, and also the fastest and most efficient way. As long as you're lucky. Well, I say as long as you're lucky. I mean, like, it's definitely the fastest way. And if you're lucky, you'll get a lot of them relatively quickly. So the reason why you want a lot of fishing points, for anyone who has been watching the playthrough, it is the best way to abuse the FP exchange here. We can get a lot of relatively not interesting stuff. You can also get attachments here. But these attachments are not worth the fishing points. Because just slightly further down, for double the amount of these attachments, you get gems. And gems augment your weapon stats way better than the normal attachments do. And they all just cost 100. It is ridiculous. If you want the weapons at the bottom, they are also useful. You get a scorpion here that gives you more, that adds poison onto your weapons if you want that. All these other ones are just ordinary weapons, but the scorpion is especially interesting. Also, once you catch your first Mardan Garian, or Baron Garian for that matter, another weapon appears at the very bottom. It is the Mardan Ines. It is a weapon tree that's entirely separate from the rest of your hero's weapon tree, and you evolve it by catching more Mardan Garians. I think it's 5 Mardan Garians for it to evolve once, and then 15 in order to get the final one. I'm not 100% sure if that's 15 total or 15 after the 5. Just catch a lot of them. And if you do this strategy, it should be easy enough. But I would very much recommend that you do Mardan and Baron Garian fishing at this point in the game. This is something you do before you beat the game, because all you need is money for it. And you saw how much a Mardan Garian gives you. For one poison apple, that's like 100... There's like 100 gilda right there. Mardan Garian gives you 200 fishing points, and you can buy a diamond and sell it for, I believe, 1,000 gilda. So you make bank off of doing it this way. So if you don't need weapon upgrades right now, you just need money, still do this. It is still the easiest way to get money. You don't even have to run to dungeons for it either. Anyway, that is basically all I want to go and talk about. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing more of these, more than that come to mind, I guess. There are a couple things I could talk about, but I'm not sure if... I haven't really guaranteed they work yet, so I don't want to just make a video for nothing. Anyway, until next time, we'll see you guys later.